going on, my friends? I do hope that you're well. I wanted to get on real quick. I got a request from a viewer about Arcade. I did a video some time ago about Arcade and making sure that you're backing up your kits and your lines from Arcade on an external hard drive. Because I tell you, they will definitely fill up your hard drive on your computer, and a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people go, why is my hard drive filled up? What is going on? And they quickly figure out it was all those lines that you downloaded. Generally what I do, it's not really hard. It's not hard at all. It's pretty straightforward and simple, is that I have one instance of Arcade up, and I don't use it a lot, but when I do, everything in Arcade, as you know, is MIDI. It doesn't record as audio initially. When I do, I'll do that part, and then I'll bounce it into place. And I'll show you this, because when you bounce it into place, it creates a little tail, but it doesn't throw it off beat. You just go in and you cut that tail off, and it'll loop right there where it's supposed to. And then what you want to do is flatten and merge that to the audio where you can edit that audio. But what you want to do once you take that and create that audio in the track is that's an audio track now. Back that up with all of your audio tracks in your session. But you want to bounce and join all that stuff and then take the instance of Arcade out. Now, if you're going to use Arcade in that session more, leave that instance of Arcade up. Clear out your MIDI and bring up another line and use that same instance of Arcade. Where you get in the problem is if you're keeping all these Arcade kits and lines, they're going to fill up your hard drive on your computer. Now, you get a big enough hard drive, if you want to keep them, that's okay. Just keep them on an external hard drive, and I'll show you how I did that here real quick. Absolutely, I'll show you how I did that. So let's bring the screen up here. We'll bring that screen up here, and we'll talk about that here real quick if I can here. Let me bring up an instance of Logic Pro. I use Logic Pro. I also have used Reason in the past. But, you know, like I say, this is fairly straightforward, folks. It will really be very helpful for you to do this. And like I say, he asked if I could show him how, and it really is straightforward. It's not too hard. I've got an instrument track here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to bring up, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just going to kind of bring something up and just kind of hammer through something and kind of show you an idea what I do. So we're going to go output. Where are you? Arcade. We're going to bring it up here. Hopefully my keyboard is working here. And with Arcade, you're going to want to find a line. I'm just going to do like a vocal line and a hook. Nothing major here. You notice that these are needed to be downloaded, but I'm just going to hit the verse one. Now, I have these set to download on a file on my external hard drive. Again, because I don't want it to fill up the hard drive on my computer. So, you can hear what we're doing here.
Under the stars tonight, don't wait for even more than simple pleasure. Take me with, don't wait for simple pleasure. Don't wait for even more than
you can create your own lines out of.
Don't wait for nobody. Simple pleasure.
Different lines here.
Even
so
more
cool.
than I think.
If you haven't used Arcade, it's really a cool tool to create your own stuff out of initial loops like this.
You don't wait for nobody.
You can just assign loops on each one of these keys, and then you can go in the same key.
You don't wait for nobody. Simple pleasure. You simple pleasure. Don't wait for nobody. You simple pleasure. Don't wait for nobody.
You see how that is. Now, this isn't why I got on here, is to show you, the features, how to use it. There's a lot of great videos that are better than me. What I want to do is just record something. I'll show you what I'm going to do.
You simple pleasure. Don't wait for nobody. You don't wait for no simple pleasure. You don't wait for no simple pleasure. Even more simple pleasure. Don't wait for nobody. Simple pleasure.
Now I can quantize it. So everything's in there, 16th notes.
Simple pleasure, don't wait for nobody.
Sometimes you get early in there, you just bring it up. If we can get this thing to work, right? All right, come on. All right.
Simple pleasure, don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for no simple pleasure.
I'm just putting stuff
Don't
just to
wait
show
for
you
no
the
simple
emotions, right?
pleasure. Even more simple pleasure. Don't wait for nobody.
All right, so basically, as you see in arcade, it's all MIDI. You want to right-click and bounce and join. You bounce it in place here, and then you can just name it, arcade 1 or whatever patch you want to name it, blah, blah, blah. Bring it, and what it's going to do is it's going to throw that little tail right there. You see where it did that? Now, don't fear that because it goes past the cycle range there for a bit. But what you do is just bring up your scissor tools and you can either chop it right there at the thing or chop it here, whatever works best.
Simple pleasure, don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for no simple pleasure for nobody. Simple pleasure, don't wait for nobody.
Now you get the idea. Create it to audio. You really want to do that. And then you probably want to flatten and merge. You want to flatten and merge all of this. So you may not have to do that in this particular track. Some of your guitar tracks, when you have several takes, you want to flatten and merge them, but you think you're okay here. It's looped, but you've got it as audio. And then I can't stress enough, and no matter what DAW you use, Ableton, Reason, Logic, Pro Tools, whatever, back up all your audio files as tracks, or all your tracks, back up all tracks as audio files, along with your session and your alt mixes if you want to, because that'll really help safeguard if you're not using that DAW anymore. If that session gets corrupt, you don't lose that stuff. You can put all your audio tracks in your session, but I would save those audio tracks separate from that. I wouldn't just save the stems. I would do the individual audio tracks, because you may have to go back and remix that one day. They may want something within one of those stems. And so those of you who don't know the difference between stems and individual tracks is like your kick drum, your snare, your hi-hat, your toms, one tom, left tom, right tom, bass, guitar, electric guitar. Your stems are all your groups of drums and percussion, all your basses, all of your guitars. You get the point. All of your pianos. That's stems. So back up both. If you want to back up your stems, do it. But I digress on that. Back on this. So you've got the audio, and that is great. You still have your instance of arcade up here. You can delete this instance of arcade and still use it for something else. You can go in, you can record something else. You can find another vocal. We'll go back to lines. Let's download this one here. And I'm going to show you in a minute where I've got mine saved. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And I'm also going to show you that, when you go there, just if you don't want it to fill up even your external hard drive, delete them all out and start over. Just go under your kit lines and everything and delete all that. So I can go and record another.
Simple pleasure, don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for no simple pleasure. Don't wait for no simple pleasure. Even more simple.
They're in key, but they're not in time. It doesn't sound good, but you just get the point. You can go record something else and do all this stuff. So that's arcade, and when you downloaded that, it went to wherever you saved it, and I'm gonna show you that here. Right here is my external hard drive with all my content and everything. And if you'll see a file folder right here, it says arcade content. Under this, sometimes it's saved to another content file. So you're going to have, it starts here. If you change something, it does that. So under this, all this kits and stuff, that's all that content, folks. All of it. You can delete all that under kits. Go under kits. Go under lines. Delete these lines. Delete them all. I don't use it much. Therefore, I have but a couple. Loops. If there's any loops, which you don't see, any of these note kits, you can delete those presets if they're in there. Go through under these individual files, samples, look in them all, sources, delete that, sub presets, and that's your arcade content. If you have a second file that it's built for some reason, go under it and do the exact same thing here, because you've got kits and you've got lines. Just go ahead and delete that stuff if you don't want it to fill up even your external hard drive, folks. If there's any other questions, please let me know. Anything I can do, it's about as far as I can go with. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Just make sure that you convert audio to anything you do with Arcade. And people may ask why, and it's simply this. You may not be using Arcade one day. It's a subscription-based program. You know, you may lose a line or something. You may not want to keep those lines. It's not going to stay on that. If you stop subscribing to it, you can't use it. So in other words, you can't bring it up. You don't have the audio. At the end of the day, it's all about keep the audio from it. Now, that's where they're at with output. Unless they change something in the future, that's the best option you got. It's not that big a deal. I always make a habit to balance it to audio and make sure the audio is always there if I use it. And to some people, that's more efficient. So there are some people that do all their MIDI stuff and take everything to audio and mix it and finish a track in audio. Audio is, in some regards, easier to manipulate than MIDI once you get it done. It's also a safeguard. So anyway, I hope that helps, and I will see you guys on the next video. Be cool. Bye.